Don't remove it, she pleaded. But the cowboy did, and what he saw broke him. The desert sun hung low over the jagged canyons of Viridian. 9. Turning the rocky ridges into jagged gold. Dust swirled along the narrow streets of Dustvale, a mining outpost on the edge of the galaxy's frontier, the kind of place where law was more a suggestion than a rule, and danger walked around like it owned the place. Jay's six-shooter, Calloway, rode into town on his horse, a cyber-enhanced creature named Rust. Rust's hooves sparked faintly as they hit the metal-reinforced dirt streets. Jace's coat flapped behind him, worn and dusty, and his wide-brimmed hat shadowed his sharp eyes. He had the look of a man who had seen too many suns rise and set in desolate places. A man who knew trouble when it sniffed the wind. He dismounted in front of a ramshackle cantina, the kind that smelled of burnt coffee, old smoke, and secrets. The sign above the door read, "The Starry Spur." Inside, miners and scavengers nursed glowing drinks, their eyes darting toward the door when Jace walked in. Some recognized the reputation that came with the name six-shooter. Others just didn't want trouble on their tab. Jace scanned the room. His attention didn't linger on the men who carried pistols or the women with cybernetic eyes that blinked in neon patterns. He was here for someone else. She was sitting at the far end near the back wall, half hidden in shadows. Her hair was silver with streaks of violet, catching the neon light like a galaxy trapped in strands. Her eyes were wide and wary, and she had a strange glow running along her arm, faint, bioluminescent lines that pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. Jace Calloway? Her voice was soft but urgent. "That's me," he said, stepping closer. "You called?" She nodded quickly. Her hands trembled slightly as she pushed herself from the table. "Please, you have to help me." "Don't remove it." Jace paused. His hand hovered near the strap of his blaster. "Don't remove what?" She hesitated, her glowing arm trembling. "This," she said, holding up her forearm. "It's dangerous. If it comes out wrong, I don't know what will happen. Please." Jace tilted his head. Curiosity sparked behind his calm exterior. He had ridden across planets, faced outlaws with plasma rifles, and survived storms that could peel the metal off a spaceship. He knew danger, but there was something in her eyes that made him question whether this was the kind of trouble he wanted to avoid. "I'm a bounty hunter, not a doctor," he said. "I don't remove things from people. I shoot things, capture things, and survive things. You get the idea?" She took a step closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "This isn't like anything you've ever seen. You need to trust me. If anyone else touches it, it's over." Jace studied her. He could see fear, yes, but also desperation and strength. There was a story here buried somewhere under the glow of her arm and the tremor in her hands. He had a rule. Curiosity was a dangerous thing in the frontier, but rules had never kept him alive anyway. "Fine," he said, voice calm. "I'll look. But you're telling me the truth, right?" "No lies." "I swear," she said. Jace moved to examine her arm. The glowing lines pulsed under her skin, like veins made of light. The patterns shifted slowly, almost like they were alive. He leaned in closer, his gloved fingers brushing against the faint energy. A tiny spark ran through him. Not painful, just strange. "You feel that?" he murmured. She nodded. "That's why I said don't remove it. It's more than it looks like. It's alive, somehow. It's been keeping me safe." Jace raised an eyebrow. "Alive? Like a parasite?" "No," she said quickly. "Not like that. It guides me, protects me. It's been inside me since I was a child. I don't know who put it there, or why, but it's important." He straightened up. The room around them seemed to blur. The air tasted thick, like static and dust, and every eye in the cantina had stopped moving. Something about her glow drew attention without even trying. "Someone's after this," she continued. "They've been watching me. They want it, and they'll kill anyone in the way." Jace nodded slowly. He had expected that. Trouble always followed things that glowed, whispered, or moved against the rules of the frontier. "All right," he said finally. "Show me where it is." She rolled up her sleeve, revealing more of the glowing patterns running across her arm. They were intricate, like alien circuitry fused with living tissue. Jace couldn't deny it was beautiful, but beautiful in a way that carried danger. "Careful," she said. "If you touch it wrong—" "I know the words," he said. "Just tell me what to do." The moment he touched it, a pulse ran through him, strong and sudden. His eyes widened. It was not just glowing. It was aware. He could feel something inside her, something watching him, probing, questioning. He pulled back instinctively. "You felt it," she said, voice trembling. "It's smart. Alive. It doesn't just survive, it protects. That's why I said don't remove it." Jace swallowed. He had faced sentient machines, rogue AIs, and alien beasts. He had never felt anything like this. His hand itched to explore further, to see what lay beneath the surface, and yet part of him hesitated. "Why me?" he asked quietly. "Because you don't scare easily," she said. "Because you know how to survive." Because I don't have anyone else." The tension in the room was thick enough to cut. Outside, the wind howled over the jagged cliffs, kicking up dust that glittered in the dying sunlight. Jace studied her face, searching for lies. There were none. Only desperation, only fear, only the unspoken truth that the wrong move could cost both of them their lives. He shook his head. "All right, I'll help. But I need to understand it first." She nodded. "Okay. But once it's out, everything changes. You won't be able to unsee it. You won't be able to forget it. You have to promise me." Jace's lips tightened. "I'll handle it." No promises beyond that. The shadows in the cantina seemed to stretch as he prepared. His hand hovered over her arm again, steadying himself. He could feel the faint hum of energy, like a heartbeat, like the pulse of something ancient. Something that didn't belong to this time. Then, with careful fingers, he began to lift it. Slowly, gently. The glow brightened, and for a moment, the world seemed to tilt. The patrons of the cantina gasped softly, though no one moved. Even the old bartender froze, polishing a glass, eyes wide. A small spark jumped between them, almost like lightning in a bottle. Jace flinched, but he held his grip. The device, whatever it truly was, slid free of her skin. Her arm was raw and pale, but the glow remained, hovering in the air between them. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the object shifted, and a tiny holographic pulse flickered in the air. Strange symbols spun and floated like fireflies, lighting up the room with alien blue light. Jace stared, jaw tight. His pulse raced. He had seen strange tech before, but nothing like this. Nothing that felt alive. What is it?" he whispered. She swallowed hard, her eyes wide. "That is everything. Everything I am. Everything I've survived. It's the reason I'm still alive. And now, it's awake." Jace's heart pounded. He realized at that moment that the galaxy just got a lot bigger, a lot more dangerous, and a lot more mysterious. And he had just taken the first step into something that could change everything. For him, for her, for the stars themselves. Outside, the wind picked up, whistling through the canyon. Russ pawed the ground nervously. Somewhere, hidden beyond the outpost, eyes watched, calculating, waiting for the moment to strike. Jace Calloway, the cowboy who had faced death more times than he could count, now understood one hard truth. Some things were meant to stay hidden. Some things were meant to remain untouched. But some things, no matter how dangerous, were impossible to resist, and he had just reached out anyway. The glow from the device hovered between Jace's fingers, casting flickering blue light across the cantina. Shadows danced on the walls, making the rough faces of the miners look strange and unreal. Jace tightened his grip and glanced at Lyra. Her breathing was uneven, her wide eyes fixed on the floating object. "It's awake," she whispered. "I've never seen it do that before." Jace nodded slowly. "Yeah, and I've seen some things. But this isn't just tech. It's alive." Her arm, now empty, looked fragile. The glow that had once protected her skin lingered faintly, a reminder of the device's purpose. "I need to get it back inside me," she said. "It stabilizes me. It keeps me alive." Without it, her voice faltered, but Jace understood. He put the device carefully into a small metal case, one of those old-world containers modified to hold alien tech. It hummed softly, vibrating like it had its own heartbeat. "Then we find somewhere safe," he said. "Someplace no one can follow us." Lyra nodded, her trust in him clear. For a moment the cantina felt quiet, the usual background noise fading, but Jace knew better. Danger didn't wait. Not in Dustvale. Outside, the desert sun had disappeared behind jagged cliffs. The air was cooler now, and the wind carried with it a faint metallic scent, a warning that someone or something was near. Jace mounted Rust, the cyber-enhanced horse, and Lyra climbed up behind him. "Where are we going?" she asked, gripping his waist. "Someplace off the map," Jace said. "Old mining tunnels. Abandoned." Plenty of twists and turns. No one knows them anymore. The ride was silent except for the sound of Russ's hooves striking metal-reinforced dirt. Jace's mind raced. Whoever had been watching Lyra would not give up easily, and if they wanted the device, well, it was clear they would do anything to get it. They reached the edge of the canyon as night fell. The sky was deep violet, dotted with unfamiliar constellations. The desert stretched endlessly, its jagged rocks glowing faintly from the residual energy of the planet's strange magnetic fields. "This place?" Lyra asked, voice low. Jace nodded. "We'll be safe here." "Mostly." She frowned. "Mostly?" "Mostly means nothing in this part of the galaxy is guaranteed." He dismounted and led Russ down a narrow path into the canyon. The walls towered over them, casting shadows that could hide an army. The sound of distant wind echoed, making the air feel alive. Lyra followed, careful not to trip. Every so often she glanced at the case holding the device. The glow inside pulsed like a heartbeat. "I don't understand it," she said quietly. "It's not just protecting me. It's learning. Watching. Sometimes I feel like it knows what I'm thinking before I do." Jace raised an eyebrow. "Smart tech is one thing. This is different. It's like it's alive, like you said. But how does it survive? Who made it?" She shook her head. "I don't know. I've been trying to find out my whole life. The people who put it in me, they vanished. I'm all that's left." Jace slowed down, thinking. He had seen the galaxy's edge, watched colonies rise and fall, and faced machines smarter than humans. But nothing had prepared him for something that was alive, ancient, and inside a person. They reached the entrance to the abandoned mining tunnels. Rust's hooves made faint clattering sounds on the metal-plated ground. Jace tested the door. It creaked open, and a gust of cold, stale air poured out. Dust swirled in the moonlight, filtering through cracks above. "This will do," he said. "Let's get inside before anyone follows us." The tunnels were long and twisting, with old machinery half buried in dust and sand. Rust moved carefully, ears flicking at every sound. Lyra stayed close to Jace, her eyes wide as she scanned the shadows. Once inside a wider chamber, Jace set the case down on a metal table. The device's glow filled the room, reflecting off the walls. He watched it, fascinated and uneasy. "It's beautiful," Lyra whispered, "but it's dangerous. It can't fall into the wrong hands. Not now. Not ever." Jace nodded. "Agreed. But we need to know what it really is, and we need to know why they want it." He reached for the case, and the device reacted instantly. Pulses of blue light ran through the metal, forming intricate symbols in the air. Jace leaned closer, trying to make sense of them. They didn't look like any language he had seen, more like moving patterns, shifting and folding into themselves. "It's communicating," he said softly. Lyra's eyes widened. "Yes! That's exactly it. I've felt it for years. It talks to me, sometimes in flashes, sometimes in feelings, but I've never seen it display this much power." Jace frowned. "Flashes? Feelings? You mean it's sentient?" "Maybe," she admitted. "I've never had anyone else see it. I didn't know if anyone could handle it." The air in the tunnel seemed to hum as the device pulsed faster. Jace noticed a faint warmth radiating from it, like it was alive. Then the symbols shifted, forming something almost recognizable. A holographic map of the galaxy, dotted with tiny glowing points. "What is that?" Jace asked, stepping back. "It's knowledge," Lyra whispered. "I've always felt it was more than protection. It's a library of something. I don't know what exactly, but it's ancient. Older than anyone alive now." Jace swallowed. "Older than anyone alive? That's dangerous. Whoever made this, they didn't want it lost."
Lyra nodded. "Exactly. That's why they put it in me."
"I'm the only one who could survive with it inside, and now that it's out, it's awake, and it's showing you." A soft chime echoed through the tunnel. Jace and Lyra froze. A holographic figure flickered to life above the table. It was humanoid, but its features were strange. Elongated face, luminous eyes, limbs that shimmered like liquid metal. What is that?" Jace whispered. "It's part of the AI," Lyra said, her voice trembling. "I've never seen it fully active." The figure spoke, though its voice was not sound but a ripple in the air, a vibration felt in the chest rather than the ears. Subject removed. Vessel compromised. Initiating stabilization protocol. The device pulsed violently. The chamber trembled. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lyra grabbed Jace's arm, holding on tight. It's alive," Jace muttered, eyes wide. "It talks, it reacts. It knows what's happening. The AI's form shifted, projecting images of star systems, planets, and cities long abandoned. The symbols on the walls flickered in synchronization with the device. Jace felt dizzy. There was knowledge here he wasn't meant to understand. Whole civilizations, wars, secrets of planets no human had ever set foot on. This is a galaxy's worth of information, Jace whispered. It's insane.
Lyra nodded, tears forming in her eyes.
It's why I'm still alive. It's been protecting me from the moment I was born. And now you've woken it fully. We have to be careful.
They'll come for it.
They'll come for us. A faint noise echoed from the tunnel entrance. A metallic scrape, soft but deliberate. Someone was following them. Someone had found the trail. Jace's hand went to his blaster. Time to see if your protector can handle more than just glowing. The AI pulsed again, brighter than ever. It projected an energy shield around the chamber, walls of blue light shimmering in the air. Lyra stepped inside the glow, feeling it stabilize her. Jace studied it carefully, realizing the device wasn't just defensive. It could fight back. It could protect. It could even think. The sound of footsteps grew louder. Shadows moved at the mouth of the tunnel. Jace felt the familiar adrenaline, the same he had felt when facing outlaws and raiders, but this was different. This wasn't just a fight for gold or revenge. This was a fight for something far larger, a secret older than any living being, something the galaxy might never be ready for. Lyra gripped his arm. Whatever happens, don't let them take it. Jace nodded, jaw tight. I won't. Outside the tunnel, the desert night stretched endless and dark. Somewhere hidden in the shadows, eyes watched. Calculating, waiting. Inside, the device pulsed, alive, sentient, dangerous. And Jace Calloway realized the frontier just got a lot bigger and far more dangerous than he had ever imagined. The tunnel's energy shield flickered around Jace and Lyra, blue light washing over the dusty walls. The faint hum of the device filled the chamber, vibrating in rhythm with Lyra's heartbeat. Outside, the scraping sounds of boots and machinery grew louder. Whoever was following them had finally caught up. They're here, Jace said, his voice low but steady. He moved toward the entrance, keeping a hand on his blaster. Russ pawed nervously behind him, his cybernetic eyes scanning for movement. They'll try to take it, Lyra whispered. They'll stop at nothing. Jace nodded. He had faced outlaws, bounty hunters, and rogue AIs, but this was different. This wasn't about money, or revenge, or lawlessness. This was about knowledge, power, and something older than any living soul. And the people chasing them? They were not human in the sense he trusted. They were corporate enforcers, cybernetically enhanced, ruthless, and relentless. The first figure appeared at the mouth of the tunnel, tall, metal plating over their shoulders, glowing red eyes scanning for the device. Behind them, others followed, silent but deadly. Jace took a deep breath, feeling the adrenaline spike. Ready? He asked Lyra. She nodded, gripping his arm tightly. As ready as I'll ever be. Jace drew his blaster, the barrel humming with energy. Let's move. Russ stepped forward, hooves sparking against the metal-plated ground. The energy shield around the chamber flared as the first enforcer tried to step through. A wave of force pushed them back violently, scattering dust. The AI was defending them. It was alive, it was smart, and it was fast. They won't get through that, Lyra shouted, awe and fear in her voice. They'll try something else, Jace said, scanning the tunnel for escape routes. He knew the tunnels better than most, twisting narrow paths, dead ends, and old mining shafts, perfect for losing pursuers. He grabbed Lyra's hand. Follow me. Stay inside the shield until I say otherwise. They ran down a narrow side passage, Rust leading the way with mechanical precision. Dust swirled around their feet. The sound of pursuit echoed behind them. Heavy boots, electronic beeps, the clatter of energy weapons. Jace's heart pounded, but he kept calm. Panic never helped. Ahead, the tunnel split into 3 paths. Jace paused, listening. The sound of the enforcers was closest to the left. He pointed to the right. This way. Trust me. Lyra followed without question. She trusted him more than anyone had in her life, and in this moment, trust was their most valuable weapon. They ran through twisting tunnels, old machinery scraping against walls, broken pipes sparking occasionally. The device pulsed, lighting the path with a soft blue glow. Jace realized it wasn't just guiding them, it was choosing paths, sensing danger and reacting faster than they could. They're fast, Lyra said between breaths. How do we stay ahead? Jace smirked briefly. Old cowboy tricks? And a little help from our glowing friend. He ducked under a low metal beam, rolling to avoid a falling pipe. Rust leaped gracefully over the obstruction. Lyra followed, her hands brushing against the walls for balance. Then, suddenly, the ground shook. The enforcers had activated explosives in the tunnels behind them. Dust and debris rained down, and the path they had just come from collapsed into a wall of rock and metal. "Keep moving," Jace shouted. The tunnel narrowed further, forcing them to squeeze through a tight passage. Lyra's arm brushed the walls, her eyes wide with fear and wonder. The device pulsed faster, almost as if it was urging them onward. Finally, they emerged into an open canyon. The night sky stretched endlessly, alien stars twinkling above. The wind howled, kicking up sand and dust. Rust's cybernetic eyes adjusted to the darkness, scanning for threats. "They're still behind us," Jace said, spotting the red glows in the distance. The enforcers had followed them through the tunnel's hidden exits. Lyra's eyes widened. "We can't outrun them on foot, they'll catch us," Jace thought fast. The canyon was rough, filled with jagged rocks and narrow ledges, but he had a plan. "We won't outrun them, we'll outsmart them." He led Lyra to the edge of a cliff. Below, a network of old mining carts and tracks twisted like veins across the canyon floor. Rust neighed, sensing the danger. "Follow my lead," Jace said. He jumped onto a nearby mining cart, modified with old tech and barely functioning energy boosters. Rust followed, and Lyra climbed behind him. Jace pushed a lever. Sparks flew, and the cart lurched forward, sliding down the tracks at high speed. The canyon walls blurred as they raced downward. Behind them, the enforcers had split into two groups. One group followed the tracks cautiously, while the other tried to cut them off by leaping across rocks. Blaster shots ignited the night, streaks of red and orange light painting the darkness. "Hang on!" Jace shouted as the cart hit a sharp curve. Rust's mechanical hooves dug into the metal, gripping the tracks with astonishing precision. The device's glow filled the canyon, projecting holographic symbols that seemed to warn them of obstacles ahead. "Is it guiding us?" Lyra asked, awe in her voice. Jace gritted his teeth. "It's alive, and it knows this canyon better than anyone." A massive boulder tumbled down from above, aimed perfectly to crush the cart. Jace swerved just in time, the cart squealing as sparks flew from its metal wheels. Rust kept steady, following the AI's subtle guidance. The enforcers weren't as lucky. The boulder smashed into the first group, sending them tumbling down the canyon floor. Red lights flickered as the energy shields on their suits failed. "Good riddance," Jace muttered, eyes forward. But the other group had anticipated the moves. They leaped across jagged rocks, blaster rifles raised. Energy beams cut through the air, missing by inches. One struck the cart's booster, causing it to sputter and slow. "Not good," Jace muttered. "Hold tight." Lyra clung to him, teeth gritted. "What do we do now?" Jace scanned the canyon floor. He spotted an old transporter pad, half buried in sand. "There!" he shouted. "We jump there. It's a short teleport to the other side of the canyon." The cart skidded closer, sparks flying from the weakened boosters. Jace braced himself, waiting for the perfect moment. "Now!" he shouted, pulling a lever. A burst of energy shot the cart into the air. Time seemed to slow. The canyon walls rushed past. The AI pulsed violently, projecting a protective field around them. The cart landed roughly on the transporter pad. Sparks flew, the ground shook, but they were safe, for now. Rust shook his metal frame, sending up a cloud of sand. Lyra's eyes were wide with amazement and fear. "They're still coming," she whispered, voice trembling. Jace nodded. "They won't give up, but we're ahead, for now." It pulsed steadily, like a heartbeat. "You saved us back there," he said softly. "But this is just the beginning. Whoever wants this, they won't stop until they get it." Lyra reached out and touched the device, feeling its warmth and subtle energy. "I never wanted it to hurt anyone," she said quietly. "I just wanted to survive." Jace placed a hand on her shoulder. "Survival's never simple out here, but right now, you and I, we've got a chance." The canyon was quiet again, only the wind and the faint hum of the device filling the air. But in the distance, red glows flickered. The enforcers weren't far behind. "Where to next?" Lyra asked. Jace scanned the horizon. "Someplace no one will look. Someplace old, forgotten, somewhere we can figure out what the hell we're dealing with before they catch us." The device pulsed again, almost like it agreed. And as they rode into the alien night, Jace Calloway knew one thing for certain. The chase had only begun. And the galaxy was about to get a lot more dangerous. the night air on Viridian. Nine's desert plateau was cold, sharp, and filled with the distant hum of energy. Jace and Lyra had escaped the canyon, but the glow of the device never faded. It hovered between them, pulsing softly, like a heartbeat echoing through the darkness. Jace surveyed the terrain. In the distance, jagged ruins rose from the sand, a forgotten alien temple, half buried and cracked by centuries of wind and neglect. It was their only hope. The device's pulse seemed to guide them, projecting faint holographic markers across the ground. "This is it," Lyra whispered, awe in her voice. "The place it's been trying to take me." Jace nodded. "Then let's hope it's still safe." They rode Russ toward the ruins, the wind cutting through their coats and whipping sand into the night. Red glows flickered in the distance. The enforcers had not given up. They were relentless, moving with calculated precision, their glowing cybernetic eyes trained on the device. The temple was massive, its walls carved with symbols that pulsed faintly in rhythm with the device. Jace felt a shiver run down his spine. The markings weren't just decoration. They were alive, vibrating with energy. Lyra led him to a grand entrance, a doorway carved into the rock, engraved with alien symbols that seemed to move under the light of the stars. "This is it," she said softly. "This is where I meant to be." Jace stepped inside, cautiously. The air was heavy, thick with the hum of ancient energy. The device floated ahead, pulsing faster, projecting a faint blue glow that illuminated the chamber. As they moved deeper, the walls displayed images, civilizations rising and falling, cities glittering in the void, fleets of ships destroyed by unseen forces. Jace's eyes widened. This was knowledge older than anything he had ever imagined. "It's showing us everything," he whispered. "Technology. Secrets of planets no one's ever seen." Lyra's hands hovered over the device. "It's why I'm alive. It's why I survived. I am the vessel for all this knowledge. And now, it wants me to stabilize it here." Jace realized the weight of her words. This device wasn't just a tool. It was a repository of an entire civilization's legacy, and Lyra was its guardian. Whoever controlled her, or the device, could control knowledge far beyond any empire or government. Suddenly the air shimmered. The corporate enforcers had found them. The first group of red-eyed hunters entered the temple, weapons raised. Their suits glinted under the device's glow. "You will hand over the vessel," the lead enforcer said, voice mechanical, distorted, "or you will be eliminated." Jace placed himself in front of Lyra. "Over my dead body," he said calmly. His hand hovered over his blaster, fingers steady despite the rising tension. The AI pulsed violently, reacting to the threat. The device projected a dome of energy around them, walls of blue light shimmering with power. The enforcers fired, but their energy blasts bounced harmlessly off the shield. Sparks danced in the air, reflecting off the carved symbols. "They won't stop," Lyra said, panic in her voice. "They'll keep coming." "They'll try," Jace replied, "but they don't know what we're capable of." He fired back, his shots precise, taking down the first wave of enforcers as Rust leapt into action. The cyber horse's enhanced hooves struck enemies off balance, and the AI projected holographic duplicates of Jace and Lyra to confuse the hunters. The temple became a chaotic dance of light, dust, and energy, with shadows moving across ancient walls. But Jace knew they couldn't hold forever. The enforcers were smart, relentless, and prepared for everything. In a quieter corner of the chamber, Lyra approached a carved pedestal. Symbols floated above it, aligning with the device's glow. "This is it," she whispered. "I have to merge with it, or it will be destroyed."
"No," Jace said quickly.
"We don't know what will happen." She looked at him, eyes filled with determination and fear. "I do. I've felt it my whole life. I was made for this. You've protected me, Jace. Now I have to protect everything else." The device pulsed faster, its glow enveloping her. Lyra placed her hands on the pedestal, and the energy surged, locking her into a cocoon of light. Symbols spun around the chamber, creating a holographic map of stars and planets, history and knowledge. Jace watched in awe as the AI integrated fully with Lyra. Her body glowed, her hair floating as if in zero gravity. "It's beautiful," he whispered, feeling both fear and pride. The enforcers advanced, but the temple itself seemed to react. Energy surged from the walls, striking the intruders. One by one, they were thrown back by pulses of light, their cybernetic enhancements overloaded by the AI's defensive protocols. Jace kept moving, firing when necessary, but he realized something. The AI wasn't just defending, it was alive. It could think, anticipate, and act faster than anyone in the room. Finally, the last enforcer approached, determined to reach Lyra. Jace's blaster flared. A shot struck the ground near the hunter, throwing him off balance. The AI pulsed again, creating a force that knocked him into the temple wall. The room went quiet, the energy dimming slightly as the AI stabilized. Lyra's body, now fully integrated with the device, glowed softly. Her eyes opened, calm and steady. She looked at Jace. "It's done," she said. "The knowledge is safe. The galaxy will survive. But I can't leave this place. This is where I belong now." Jace's chest tightened. He had ridden across planets, faced death countless times, and survived storms that could peel metal off ships. But this was harder. To let her go. To let her carry the weight of the galaxy. He began, struggling to find words. "You did what you could," Lyra said softly. "You protected me. You kept me alive."
"And you gave me a chance to do this. That's more than anyone could ask for."
Jace swallowed hard. "I don't want to lose you." "You won't," she said. "Not really. I'll always be here, in some way. Watching, guiding, protecting." The device pulsed once, a final, steady heartbeat. The AI's energy integrated fully with Lyra, and the holographic symbols stabilized, forming a protective network across the galaxy. Jace watched, filled with awe and sorrow. He realized that some battles were bigger than a man, bigger than any frontier he had known. Outside the temple, the desert wind howled. Rust grazed calmly, his cybernetic eyes glowing faintly. Jace mounted the horse, staring at the glowing temple one last time. "Goodbye, Lyra," he whispered, "and thank you." She appeared in a faint projection, her eyes meeting his. "Be safe, Jace, and don't forget, the stars are bigger than our problems, and sometimes they need someone like you to watch over them." Jace nodded. His heart ached, but he understood. This was bigger than love, bigger than friendship. This was about survival, about protecting knowledge and life itself, and he had played his part. As the first light of a new alien sun rose over the horizon, Jace rode Rust out of the canyon. The desert stretched endlessly before him, harsh, wild, and full of secrets. But he didn't feel alone. The AI's presence lingered, and the memory of Lyra's courage burned in his mind. Somewhere out there, civilizations depended on what they had protected, and Jace, the cowboy of the stars, had been part of it. The frontier was still dangerous, the galaxy still vast, but for the first time in a long time, Jace felt a sense of peace. He had faced the impossible, survived, and witnessed something greater than himself. And he knew, no matter how far he rode, no matter how many battles he faced, the story of Lyra, the AI, and the knowledge of a lost civilization would live on. He rode into the alien sunrise, the glow of the temple fading behind him, and the hum of the device echoing in the distance. The galaxy was alive, wild, and waiting for those brave enough to protect it. And Jace Calloway would always be ready.